To engage with me. But when you mock this way, you're being dismissive and you're ignoring my point. So then everybody was jumping on me like, because he's the host and I was disrespecting their God. And it was really, really interesting. And he ended up demanding an apology from me because I called him a child.
You called him out. He was mocking you, and he's supposed to be and he's supposed to be the philosopher.
He's like, right. He's like, I am not going to waste my time. Blah blah blah. And I said, then you shouldn't have made a comment at all. You should have just ignored me.
Yeah.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Travis, Ranty and Mark. How you all doing?
We're doing well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm always hesitant to blow the horn because people are going to wonder why I'm honking at them.
That's okay. It doesn't affect the hangout.
No, I know, but it's always, I'm just looking around thinking, am I going to make these people nervous because I'm a truck blowing my horn and they might think I'm trying to get their attention.
Yeah, like I say, it affects us rather. I'm just being ludicrously selfish just for the sake of humour.
I know. Yeah.
As Ranty disappeared, I haven't heard a word from him.
Yep.
It means I might get through housekeeping without having to clarify a few of the terms. Let's see if we can do it before he gets back from his brew. Any signs of curvature?
No curve.
Not on my side.
Axial rotation?
A simple no.
Travis? Any signs of axial rotation, Travis?
Nope.
What about a pressurized system next to a vacuum? Have either of you gentlemen had any signs of that?
No.
I have not seen it.
Fair enough. What about a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Any signs of that, gentlemen?
No.
I don't know. Very tentative no from Travis. I think I heard a no. Maybe. Going through a dead zone. What about evidence of the actual radius itself? Any signs of that? Any signs of R?
Nope. Zero again.
No? Bill Miller?
Nope.
I don't know. It could maybe all the trouble I'm having with my connection right now has to do with the curvature. Maybe there's something about that.
That's right.
Satellites behind the curve.
While we've got you, have you seen any signs of Bill Miller?
No Bill Miller.
I think that's pretty much it. Did I cover gravity? Maybe.
Sorry, you broke up then. What did you say?
Did I cover gravity? Any signs of gravity?
No, you're breaking up again.
Me? Really?
Were you back again?
Let's try that. Is that any better?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
Oh, hopefully the whole show hasn't been terrible sound. I haven't been paying attention to the chat.
Yeah, I don't know, because I could hear nothing for the past, like, minute plus, and I thought it was just my connection.
No, I thought you said gravity, but you broke up. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, any signs of gravity?
No, you broke up again.
Really?
No, I'm only joking.
Pucker.
I'm not answering that question.
You can.
I'm frantically checking everything here. Don't do things like that. Clicking away, checking the iPad, about to mute myself and turn the volume up and go for dead air just to check it's okay.
You need to qualify that with Newtonian, Einstein.
Oh, the penny's dropped, Mark. I've just figured out why you would do that. I couldn't care less about this gravity subject. I've got to be honest. It really doesn't bother me in the slightest.
I think you have a personal opinion, but you're just keeping it to yourself.
I don't. I've had both. Obviously, I've had, like everybody, the initial heliocentric belief. And then I think initially my consideration was the same as yours, that there must be something defining down. And now I don't really think that's necessarily the case, because you're just talking about reference frames anyway. So, to be honest, I just see it all as moot. It really doesn't bother me in any respect. I literally don't give it any thought. But there we go. It's been cause of some interesting conversations, which I'm glad of. I like listening to the conversations, that's for sure.
I would have liked to have heard Mark engage with Rumpus yesterday, because Rumpus gave a reference to gravity in the same way that Mark has, I believe.
Yeah, I would talk to Rumpus on a one-to-one.
Because, you're coming, when you talk about it in the same fashion, obviously your approach is going to be different than his because of your worldview. So it would have been an interesting dialogue.
Yeah. He might come on, and he might get kicked off.
I really do. I really do hope not. Yeah, I mean, the thing about yesterday, what I was able to catch of it before I died out in the plains of Virginia, he cannot simply answer a question. He has to qualify and just convolute. It's very frustrating.
I have to give a big shout out to Beyond the Imaginary Curve last night. Gav?
Yeah, that was a great.
Yeah, Gav had most of the show to himself, and he was just talking about philosophy and what do you call it? The
Euclidean principles.
Yeah, I thought that's new to me. I'm gonna listen to it again tonight and do a bit of research myself.
Yeah, they had a longer hangout a couple months ago that was very, very rich in that same kind of discussion. It was very good.
Yeah. Did you hear it, Nathan?
No. Sorry.
There's so much to listen to that you could just. Well, there's too much, but I particularly liked that last night. That was very good.
Cool. Do you know what the show title was, so people can look it up?
The loose. What did you call it, Travis?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I think they had Euclidean principle, or Euclid's first principle, or something like that in their title, but I don't remember.
I'm getting it now.
Just means that if somebody wants to go and reference what you're talking about, if they know the title, they can just do it with a quick YouTube search.
What justified Euclid's first principles? That's what it's called.
What justified Euclid's first principles?
Yeah, cool. And Euclid is spelled E-U-C-L-I-D.
Excellent stuff. You guys gonna give me a précis of what was said? Because I didn't watch, like I say.
It's whenever you're debating with somebody, you've got to get to first principles, or the grammar in the trivium, so that you can hold the debate on course, rather than hearing your opponent use a word and then you attack that word, and then the whole conversation's gone in a different direction. So it's establishing what we all accept before we can even start the debate. But also, he was the mathematical principles that of a straight line. It's not just the shortest distance between 2 points, but all points upon it. I can't remember now. I'll have to watch it again.
It's okay. I mean, I'm asking you to paraphrase someone else's work, so I'm sure nobody watching this is going to expect you to know the ins and outs to give great detail.
4 principles of mathematics that are taken as said. They don't need to be questioned or established. But it was geometry, and the geometry works either on a flat plane or on a sphere, except a triangle has internal angles of 180, but a triangle on a sphere doesn't. So there's some things don't work on a sphere.
Right.
You can get a chance to watch it. It's very good.
Oh, good stuff. That's on Beyond the Imaginary Curve, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. We got Ranty back yet? He's been gone an awful long time. Starting to get worried about him.
Does he have something to present?
Yeah, he's always got something to present as Ranty. We were just chatting offline before the show started about just his ordering of his camera and things and various observations that he's been doing. He's very excited, as you can imagine. I'm looking forward to what he produces with that camera, I really am. Validation boy asking me questions about live streaming. Interesting.
I can't hear anything right now.
Really?
Oh, now I can. When you were talking before, you were garbled, but I think that was just...
I don't know if I've got some sort of mic issue. It's the second time Mark's had said that as well.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you, I'm going through Virginia, and this is always a touchy area. It's getting close to Alexandria. It's always a pocket of craziness. So I just wanted you to know that I wasn't responding because I didn't hear anything clearly.
Hey, Anthony.
Hola!
Hola, amigos.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
What have I missed?
Nothing much. Housekeeping. Ranty's gone AWOL. Travis was about to tell us about an interesting conversation he'd been having with a friend.
Oh, is that what you said?
What did Mark Doxey say to the gravity question in housekeeping? Did he say no?
Yeah, we dealt with that already. We're moving on.
Yeah, we already dealt with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it sounds like you're all sweeping it under the mat.
I'm not sweeping anything under the mat.
Listen, have you seen Rich Mr. Thrive and Survive's latest video?
I do love your enthusiasm, Anthony. I haven't, but we did obviously talk about it in a brief text exchange last night, you and I.
You're not meant to say that. You're meant to say, no, why? What's Mr. Thrive and Survive's latest video about?
No way. What's Rich been up to?
Is that the app on the iPhone?
The Theodolite app, well, you know the one that Rumpus claims that you can measure the radius of the Earth with one quick calculation, that he doesn't mind if it's inaccurate or not because it's close enough.
Yes.
I know the one.
Yet, despite claiming to be a man of precision.
Yes.
Well, what he's done, Thrive has flown from, it's either east to west or west to east coast on the States, right? Which I think it was west. I think he's obviously done it both ways. And what he did was he got his theodolite out, reset it whilst he was in the airport, and then flew across the country. And then it's about 2,500 miles, and it should have been something like 11 degrees of the curvature of the Earth, or 9 degrees. I can't remember what the number was. But basically, when he landed on the other side of the other side of the country, you can guess what didn't happen. Now that's a bit of an issue because the tilt of the Earth.
No. Hold on. For the benefit of the audience, rather than you can guess what didn't happen, tell us what did or didn't happen?
It's supposed to fly around a curve, and according to the amount of degrees based on the radius that we can't find, it was supposed to be a set amount of degrees. I'm guessing if I was to try and remember what it was late when I watched it, and I'd been drinking. But the point was that the Theodolite app, when he reset it at one end, basically should read significantly different at the other end because of the degrees of curvature he's flown over. And it didn't show it. He was 0.2 of a degree different, and that's probably because of the tilt of the runway. But basically,
let's break this down to simplicity, right? Because this is what we understand reality is. If I'm standing in front of a raised elevation of land, and I to level, and then I ascend, I go up that mound, I am no longer level, and the theodolite will show that.
Correct. And if
Correct.
you drive
so when
over
we understand that, that's right. When we understand that principle on that small scale, we need to understand that's going to be the same principle if we move up a curve or to the left or to the right or down, because we've moved away from our central position of level. As soon as we step away from that, the theodolite ought to move, because we're going down.
Indeed, we're always at the top of the ball. So, Anthony, on screen now, I don't know if you can click on my icon or whatever. I've got, I think it's actually a shot you took with your Theodolite app as opposed to mine. But we've obviously got this 1.2 degrees, which is nigh on perfectly level. No, I think it's the other side, actually, my bad. It's 0.6 degrees. So what you're saying is it should be what when it gets round from east to west? Oh, he's on mute.
Are you asking me?
No, Anthony. I just want Anthony to look at the Theodolite app and explain what did or didn't happen based on the numbers on screen. So if we assume that 0.6 of a degree on the right-hand side, hopefully the audience can see that. I'll just circle it. This 0.6 degrees means essentially he's got a completely level Theodolite, right?
Yeah. Did what I say make sense?
Yes. Yeah, perfect sense.
Sorry, I was just relocating my microphone.
That's all right.
Yeah, it was supposed to move by X amount of degrees, and basically it didn't do it. Now, essentially, it doesn't matter how you word it, right? They're all going to say, well, down is to the center of the Earth, Riley. And I'm like, well, yeah, but how are you going to prove that with the accelerometers? Because they're going to have some kind of adjustments in them to make that correction, because the degrees tilt from what it was an hour or two before. It's not going to be the same. It's going to have to change if we're going around a sphere. Did I miss a question, by the way?
No, not at all. Oh, what I was kind of alluding to was on screen we've actually got a Theodolite picture, but, you know, it doesn't matter. What I was just hoping you'd say is, you know, where it says 0.6 degrees because it's level, if you imagine you tilting the camera forward, it would obviously change that because you're pointing the camera down. The same can be said if you fly around a ball, you're going to be doing effectively the same thing, even though your reference point to the ground stays as, for you, level. You're not going to start toppling over, you're still standing upright. But the phone would have registered itself at its original point as level, and then when you try and do the same thing, point it, you know, hold it completely vertically, it would not register as level. It would register as off.
Unless, of course, there's some kind of magic correction in terms of the software or the firmware or the hardware. Then obviously in an iPhone 6, they ain't going to do that. We've seen what's inside the accelerometers. It's little tiny filament kind of things that move microscopic amounts, and that's what it measures. So looking forward to somebody pulling apart an iPhone i6 and then, you know, showing us the correction device that's in there to calculate or adjust for the rotation or the curvature of the Earth, which you've gone round. Not going to happen.
Know your Apple products better. Did you not hear about the pendulous veins gate?
Actually, Nate, you know what? I don't have an iPhone. I find them really repulsive. So if there's pendulous veins inside an iPhone, forgive me. I did not know they were there.
No, they're not. I'm just joking.
I know. Why didn't you?
Well, I
wanted to dig at iPhones.
I've got a friend in Australia who said he'd be willing to take on Thrive and Survive's challenge if he wants to send him the. So I don't know if you guys know how to contact thrive and survive or not. But
with
if
great
he needs
difficulty.
somebody,
Every time I email Rich, I get an email back saying this inbox is full. I don't think I've ever got an email through to him.
I can get in touch with Rich. He's like an antiquated bloke from the like 90s. He's not really got up to speed yet with the internet properly. And I mean that in the nicest of ways, but he's hard to get in touch with.
well, anyway, I've got somebody who'd be willing to be the receiver on the Australian continent.
I need a bit of help with this theodolite thing. I've never used one, so I don't really know what they do or how they do it, other than for a building site to get something level.
What they do, Mark, is they tell you that there's a fault there, and it gives you a 0 reading, but you got to imagine that there's one there, and then you can tell people that there is one. That's how it works. I'm winding you up.
Just say there's a standard international height for a rugby H. You know, the goals on a rugby, the H, and the cross beam. There's a standard international height for that. If you used a theodolite in say the UK to get the level of that cross beam, and then you take your theodolite to Australia and find another rugby ground, would the theodolite still be pointing at that without making any adjustments?
What parameters are you talking about? So I would assert no, just based on the fact that we live on a flat plane. So no, it would just work exactly the same.
That's the debate, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but the globers would assert that as you're travelling from one place to another, you're travelling around the sphere of the Earth, and therefore the reference frame of that phone changes. Therefore, when you point it level or at the horizon or at your goalposts, there is a caveat that would go along with that, but I'm not going to bother with the perspective caveat. Regardless, there's going to be a change in that number on the theodolite app when you point it forward or have it perfect.
I wasn't talking about the app, I was actually talking about a proper theodolite with a little bubble to get the equipment level.
Well, that would have no memory, so it's not taking a reference snapshot, if you like, and then saying this is where I am locally to me. You just reset the accelerometers, and then they have a fixed reference from that point on. And that's how my experience has been. You reset those accelerometers, put it on something perfectly flat, and then it is set to that. That is its reference.
Okay. But if somebody is going to argue with us and say, well, no, the accelerometer in the iPhone is working exactly the way a physical, real theodolite works, and so it will point to the horizon when you get to your next base. You see, I don't know how they work, so I can't really get it right.
Sure.
In my head.
The argument with a true theodolite would simply be that when you're leveling it out with that spirit level on the top of it, and you're getting, you're trying to achieve a level transit, what you're doing is in reference to their gravity. Now, anybody who watched yesterday's show and the Cavendish quote-unquote experiment that apparently proves gravity is not an experiment, it's not scientifically valid, gravity is in no way proven. But ultimately speaking, that would be their disclaimer. They would say, well, no, as you move that theodolite from one place to another, and then you stick it down on the ground, wherever you are, you're always at the top of the ball, and the bubble will reference that. Whereas the phone is different in the respect.
Doing the same thing then?
Well, because the phone's got you can physically set it. So in the same way, so if you imagine, I lay the phone flat on.
I get it. Yes.
But I'll just explain it anyway, just for the audience's benefit. So I lay the phone flat and I reset the accelerometers, and they then have a fixed reference. And then I pick up the phone, and instead of it being flat on the floor, horizontal, I hold it vertical. It would immediately register that and show 90 degrees on the app. Well, likewise, if you travelled down a hill and you were tipping your feet forward and slightly pointing forward and kept the phone rigid towards yourself, in other words, referencing you would show that degree changed because you're on a hill and you're pointing the phone slightly down now. Well, that effect would be the same as if you went round the curve of the Earth. In other words, when you got to the other side or to your destination, if it was a significant difference, it would just register that as though you were tipping the phone down at your prior location because you've gone around the curve of the Earth. The outcome being, and I have seen Phuket Word Nick do exactly that, so I will watch Rich Thrive and Survive's version of the same thing, but that's exactly what happens. You get to the destination and it's referencing the exact same flat plane as when you took off. There's no difference.
Naughty Travis had opened your gate then as well.
Just at the crucial time when the point came.
Yeah. Do you want to say that last two sentences again?
I'm saying that... well, I'll sure. The reference frame stays the same. In other words, I know what Rich's result will be. He will find that there'll be no degree of change whatsoever when he gets to his destination, even though he's travelled a significant distance. And in the same way as the person leaning forward on a hill when they walk down, it shows a degree of change because the phone is now tilted forward. Well, as you travelled around the presupposed ball, you would be literally physically tipping that phone forward because it's not reference to gravity, it's reference to the flat surface that you had reset the accelerometers on. So you would expect it to show a very different degree when you pointed it at the horizon or had it perfectly
the accelerometer is separate from gravity then?
Yes, it's just reference to whatever you reset it to. So in the case of Nick Phuket Word, he just set it on the laser level sharp floor of the airport, which was perfectly flat, and then just reset the accelerometers. Now, you could argue it's one fraction of 1 degree out, and I wouldn't care, because ultimately speaking, if you're going some significant distance around the curve of the Earth, it's going to register that, and it didn't.
And so the heavyweight ballers, have they made a reply to this yet?
That's a good question. I have no idea what the rebuttal is.
Yeah, okay. We'll have to wait and see for it then, won't we?
Indeedy. But it's not the first time it's been done.
Like no, I remember Phuket doing it about a year ago.
Right.
He set something up at the airport, turned his phone off, and then switched it back on again a few thousand miles away, and it registered as a flat plane. It couldn't have done what it did on a curve.
Yeah, that's because it's flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Sorry, was I meant to do something?
No. It's all good. It's all very calm.
Just on phone.
Watching the back chat?
Yes.
No, so all good. Everything's hunky-dory. It's a very quiet day, it seems.
Well, before Anthony came on, Nathan, I thought you were going to give me an opportunity to...
Subtle. You had mentioned something about a friend you were talking about, that you were having a bit of a discord with. Maybe you could enlighten the audience, Travis. Is that possible?
Yeah, so Russian Vids has a video that DITRH mirrored about the eclipse proving or disproving the globe. And so he had a video of an eclipse footage from December 2011, and he didn't show it, but he said that the sun had risen above the horizon. The moon was probably about 40 degrees in the sky, and the eclipse was from the top down. So you've got a top-down eclipse, you've got both lights in the sky, and when I shared this with my friend, he said, well, yeah, that's exactly what you would expect, because the sun is in the southern hemisphere, and it's winter, and when the sun comes up over the horizon, the shadow is going to, that's exactly what you would expect. And I just am sitting there thinking, I don't know how to, I know what's wrong with what we're talking about, but I just couldn't get around how to explain to him. So I was just wondering if we could discuss that if there was nothing else going on.
You should have done it. We'll just tell him how much of a moron he is and just beat it into him.
Yeah, I know. But
he
does that to me. See, that the problem is that that's the way he treats me, and so I'm not going to do that because I would just be retaliating, and I don't think it would be helpful.
But does he understand fundamentally how a lunar eclipse is supposed to work?
Oh yeah, he's more than demonstrated his opinion that he knows more about it than I do. So yes, he knows how eclipses work, and yeah, I mean, so what? Yeah.
So he should just recognise instantly that that shouldn't work then, that the Earth isn't getting in the way, as is necessitated by the heliocentric version of what an eclipse is. He should recognise that instantly, no?
I would like to think so, but then he gaslights and says that's exactly what we should expect on a globe. He says the exact same thing that we would. And that's what I said to him. I said, okay, look, I'm going to treat this video in terms of reality. I'm on a flat plane. I'm looking at the moon. The sun is above the horizon. What I see is what I see. I'm seeing reality. What you have to do is you have to turn the Earth upside down in order to change the position of the moon so that you have the sun eclipsing the moon from the top down, but we're really not top down. We're really bottom up because you have to invert the universe to get it to go the way you want. And he's like, yeah, that's what we would expect. That's the world we live in. And I just sit there and think, I just don't know what else to say.
Oh, so in other words, what you did was you explained all the flaws, and he went, yes, that's exactly what we expect. Correct.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yes, what's the problem? You've just explained dozens of flaws to me. Yes, that's as the world should be. Totally
You're right. I
indecipherable
know, yeah. That's brilliant.
And
that's a
nonsensical.
great way of saying it.
I like a nonsensical world. That's what I expect.
Non sequitur would be a better word.
It doesn't make logical sense. If you're saying that the Earth is the thing causing the shadow on the moon, and it's because it is between the light source, the sun, and the moon itself, now that, by virtue of the distances, makes sod all sense to begin with, but let's ignore that bit. You don't end up with the light getting obscured from top down. That doesn't happen. That's impossible, right? It's the other way around. It should come from bottom up.
Bottom up, yeah.
So it makes sod all sense, but heliocentrists everywhere will say, no, that makes total sense. Because...
Gravity!
Probably gravity. Gravitational shadow lens warping.
I've got a snip somewhere of Red's rhetoric saying, gravity has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. It's such a great line, but I can't find it. But I wish I could find it easily, because it's one that you can just play over and over and over again. It's brilliant. Maybe
it's on the soundboard. Have you ever seen those?
For Red's rhetoric?
Yeah, there's various different soundboards out there that people have put together. With quotes.
No, I've not seen. I've seen one or two. I've seen the Rumpus one.
Yeah, the Red's rhetoric one's got all sorts on it. I think it's one of the bigger ones.
So Rancy's AFK. Yeah, I'm looking for. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So Rich's Thrive and Survive. His video about flying across the states, right? The thing is, right, it supports the gyroscopes. The mechanical gyroscopes do the exact same thing. The fiber optic ones, the ring laser gyros do something different, but the mechanical ones are doing the exact same thing. They support each other. The difference between the fog and the fiber optic, the ring laser gyros, is that they're basically measuring light. So it's a little bit different with how they're set up, and there's an argument over what they're actually observing. But the gyroscopes in planes should do the same thing, and a gyroscope in a plane that's not the one that's the pilot uses should do the same thing. And of course, it's not going to do. But they all ignore that, and they'll push it that it's I don't know, calculated or adjusted for gravity in some nonsense way. But what we need to do is collate all of these evidences, because this is a really simple one that's so fantastic. And I'm surprised nobody's thought of it before now. So shout out to Rumpus for claiming that the theodolite can measure the flatness of the Earth, because it certainly seems to do that.
So it isn't really the theodolite issue that we're talking about the same thing that D. Marble did with his spirit level when he took it on the plane. It's the same principle.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Well, the problem with the... Sorry, D. Marble. Daryl's a great guy. But when I explained to Mark about if you took an actual theodolite from one location to another, that bubble is referencing, in their bullshit pseudoscience world of Cavendish gravity. So therefore, it's going to self-correct to the central reference point of the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth if you move it. The difference with the phone is you're setting it to a fixed reference. You're setting the accelerometers. So it's not being pulled to the centre of Earth with a pseudoscience force of gravity to self-correct as it gets around to the other side. It's just referencing where it is. So from the point of view of Daryl Marble's example, it would be much closer to what I said about a theodolite, unfortunately for him, which is to say that as he travels along in the plane, the bubbles just continually pull towards the centre of the Earth, so therefore would show no change. And that, you know, Globehead would come along and go, ha-ha, globe and gravity all in one, proven! Because we see nothing, which is exactly what we'd expect. You go, oh, right, okay. But with the phone, it's different.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that the phone eliminates the globe appeal to gravity.
Correct. That's exactly what I would have said.
Yeah, okay.
Let's have a quick read through the chat, see if somebody's addressing this from the globe side. Dodo light. Come on, Pete, that's a stretch. That's the loosest connection I've ever seen Pete make to the dodo. Dodo light. Awful.
It's funny, though. It was funny.
Didn't get a laugh out of me.
I did. I chuckled.
Shout you out, Alan. Sure. Why do the phone's accelerometers not register that the Earth is a sphere, as you would expect them to? How's that for a shout out? What did I miss? Not a lot, Ranty. Say hello. You haven't actually said hello on this show yet. People don't actually maybe trust that you're here. I will put the cam on in case you deliberately don't say anything.
Hello.
Hello.
I nipped out to go and grab a butty dinner and I got a puncture on my car. So
No way.
I had to change the tyre, yeah.
So you've been signed in not listening to any of that?
No.
Oh, that's such a shame.
My pie's cold now, so...
All that praise about you and you've missed it all. Literally, we've spent half the show just praising you and nothing else. Oh well.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll have to listen to it back then.
Definitely. Listen very closely. Yeah, we've been talking about the accelerometer tests that Rich, Thrive and Survive was recently done. I sound vague because I haven't watched it. Similar to what Phuket Word did about a year ago. Do you remember when he set the phone down on the airport floor?
Yeah.
Reset his accelerometers and then took off. Don't know where he travelled from or to. It's too long ago. But some significant distance. And then when he checked the app at the end of the journey, it was exactly as it was when he took off.
Yeah, I think he went to Ireland.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, right. From Phuket?
Mm-hmm.
You think he went to what?
I think he landed in Ireland.
Who?
Okay.
Ireland.
Well, that's a hell of a distance.
Hmm.
Who are you talking about?
Phuket Word from a year ago. Sorry, I should really talk about Riches, but I haven't watched it.
No, talk about D. Marble's laser test.
Yeah,
about
10-mile
whatever you
laser
want.
test.
Yeah.
What a beauty that is.
Yeah. But refraction again, boys. You're going to have to prove it's A, bending, and B, round a curve.
Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't look like it's bending. And not only that, you can see the laser from the side. It looks pretty straight to me. There's no 32-foot curve there.
Oh, wouldn't you have to adjust? Wouldn't you have to adjust for the refraction in terms of dusk because it's not at the same temperature and light and all that stuff? It can't be the same. You can't have a uniform application of refraction in any temperature, altitude, humidity, all that stuff.
Oh, well, what the things you're listing, Travis, are the actual things associated with real refraction, whereas that's not what they apply. They apply terrestrial refraction, and terrestrial refraction is a begging the question fallacy on steroids.
Yeah. No, I get it. I just have to say it out loud so I hear reality in my head. Yeah.
I mean, what surprised me with the laser that you bought, it had a 10-mile range on this laser, but the beam itself held its integrity the entire way. It didn't expand, you know, and go like 100 meters across. I mean, it held a very narrow beam, and it was like $150.
You worked very hard on that CGI, didn't you? Daryl should be proud.
Yeah, yeah. He said the check's in the post. So
Is that what he said? Well, if you don't clear, we'll out him. We're just joking. We're just joking.
I do actually have an eye on. He told me where to go to buy this laser, and I've got my eye on the 5,000 watt one that can do. Get you ready for this? Nearly 19 miles. So a little over 18 miles. So how cool would that be to do from Barrow in Furness?
Oh wow!
From
yeah,
Barrow
good point.
back.
You could hit
Hell
the clock.
yes.
You could hit the clock, couldn't you?
Yes, you could.
That's ace.
You could have someone in the town centre, and I could be shining it on it from Blackpool.
That's cool.
I don't even know how any of these bowlers can still maintain the position. It's ridiculous. There's so much evidence now that does not support their model at all. It's like, why are you even here now? I mean, who's trolling you now? Are you trolling us, or are we now trolling you?
Do you want the honest answer to that? It's faith. In R they trust. It is as simple as that. It's a religious belief. Yeah, they've got faith. They have faith that it's correct because their priests tell them. The priests of television, the priests of scientism, they all tell them that it's a sphere, and they trust it. They believe it. They have faith. They have a faith. Heliocentrism is a faith. It's a belief system.
Do you remember that conversation you had, Nathan, with somebody who you were trying to get him to admit that heliocentric starts off with the god Helios? Do you remember that?
I think it was Tim Osman.
Was it Tim, was it, yeah? That was brilliant. Because it took him about 5 minutes to say, yes, okay, Helios is the Greek god. Is it Greek or Roman? It's Greek, wasn't it? Of the sun god. So it is a religion.
Oh, absolutely, it's a religion. I mean, its roots are easily denied, I would say, and that's precisely what he did. But you know, if you just explain where the etymology is, then there's no denying it.
And it's such a hard one for them to swallow because they would claim they are atheists. And to say that you have a ball religion, it's so below the belt, isn't it?
I mean, how did they actually think that they're standing on a ball travelling at 1,000 miles an hour? I mean, come on, spinning around. How can they actually think that?
Faith. You do just take it on faith. Like we keep saying, there's no physical experience of any of these things. So you take it on faith that you are spinning at 1,000 miles an hour because somebody tells you that you are, not because you experience it in any way, shape or form.
So I just posted in the Google chat a link that is on my Facebook page. And if you watch this video, we don't have to watch it right now, but if you watch it, this guy is talking about the power of the laser, and he makes a statement that is they tested it over water. I think it was either 5 or 9 miles or something like that. But what he says, if you're not thinking about it as a flat earther, you're not going to pick up on it. But if you think about it as a flat earther, he's proving flat Earth. But he's pushing the product itself, and he's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it sounds similar to when they do the I've forgotten what they call them now, the transmissions that they do over massive distances. I don't think it's RF transmissions. I can't remember. They're just sending packets of data via transmitters, basically. It was you that brought this up last time, Anthony.
What are you talking? Are you on about the microwave data transmissions?
That's the one. Microwave data transmissions. Correct. And they're doing vast distances.
Yeah, doing huge distances, and it's like Well, there should be, unless it's going through the water, the bulge that we talk about, it's not a sphere.
It reminds me, or that reminded me of one of the first interviews I did with a very nice lady named Robin Poe, who I still think makes videos now and again. But Robin Poe, who's ex-military, would set up transmission towers, and she'd have to follow the book. You know, that's what they do. And in one instance, she was trying to get a relay linked up, and coincidentally, the relays fit nicely with the, you know, spherical idea of Earth. And she couldn't get this relay to link, and what she did was she just pointed the transceiver to the source, which was about, I think she said it was 100 and, I can't remember if it's 140 or 114, one or the other, miles away, just a vast distance, and instantly got a signal. So she sort of radios in, and great, I've got a signal, it's all working, and then she documents what she's done, and very quickly lots of important people turn up, and she's told in no uncertain terms, take it down, and her person in charge, I can't remember what rank, said, I don't like it. And she was like, what do you mean you don't like it? It works. I don't like it. Take it down. It's not by the book. And yeah, like I say, check it out. It's the interview is called Flat Earth UK or Flat Earth United Kingdom or Flat Earth United. I can't remember what I titled it, but one of those. I think it's Flat Earth UK with Robin Poe. But yeah, she basically details exactly that. The process that she went through trying to get these relays to work because of interference from things in the way, physical things, trees and such, you know, pointing it back to the source. But that was why earlier I was like, no, don't just say we know what that means, because that's what Robin Poe did. So my mother watched that interview and after the fact said she would say things like, well, you know what that means, and the assumption being that the person watching gets the implication of her saying that she had a radio link up at 100 plus miles when they're supposed to be, I don't know, 20 or 30 or 25 mile relays, as opposed to this just direct long shot, which she achieved. And had it been a sphere, obviously the curve of the Earth would have got in the way. You need a direct line. And that's exactly what she achieved over a distance that would absolutely debunk the globe. But at the time, she didn't give it any consideration, like a lot of people, like me, when I was travelling over the flat plane as a rep. You know, I'm thinking, I wish I could get higher to see curve. At the time, she was saying, great, I've done a good job, I've got the relay. I don't need the relay, I can do it direct. She's not thinking, this debunks the sphere, like most people don't.
How far did she get with this microwave?
It wasn't microwave, it was actual radio, but I'll have a look. I'll look it up now. Hopefully I can get to the video quickly, because I'm sure I put it in the title.
And did she account for Magnus effect as well, did she?
That I don't know. I wasn't aware of the Magnus effect at the time, so I didn't ask her that question.
Is your last name just Poe?
It is. Here we go. 115 mile radio shot. It's Flat Earth UK 7 with Robin Poe. 115 mile radio shot proves Earth is flat.
Can you put me on screen, Nathan? I'm not going to play his video. I'm just going to show you a still shot.
Oh, okay.
Of the laser.
Look at that.
I've actually taken a screen grab of this and I've enlarged it so that you can see it. I'll have it on Paint. So let me just show you that now. Look at that. 10 miles. This camera is apparently set to around about 7 or 8 feet above the actual water. And D Marble's got his camera on the other side of the lake, and he's seeing this beam go directly into the camera lens. And he's down at around about 3 feet.
Straight as a die. Have you put a straight line on it?
I haven't put a straight line on it, no. Oh, hang on. I don't want to do that. We don't even need to put a straight line on it. Where's the 32 feet of curve? Or 36 feet of curve.
And none of it should be seen.
None of it should be seen.
Go with the bottom line. It's more defined.
Looks pretty flat to me. Look at that. And that was with this laser that will do the 10-mile distance. So if anybody hasn't seen it yet,
Yeah, but it's not
marble.
flat. So, sorry, just go back, put it back on. Right. So what's it actually doing? It's going down at an angle. So credit where credit's due to Arwin when he was talking about the slant. This is an excellent depiction of exactly that. So if you're saying he's 8 foot off the ground, was he said 8 foot? Is that right?
He's 8 foot off. He's 8 foot.
The laser.
And thingy's D-marble's down at 3 feet. So he is angling it down.
Sorry, just let me get clarity. This laser is 8 foot off the ground, correct?
Yes.
Right. So between us and, let's just call it the horizon for simplicity's sake. In this photograph, I'm going to say, forgive me if I'm not perfect. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to say that the horizon is at the midpoint of the photograph. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Right. So you have got in the bottom half of this photograph, 8 foot represented in the bottom half, an elevation between the ground and the point where the horizon or the laser's pointing at the horizon. That's 8 foot in elevation. Yeah. Above that line, you've got almost an infinitesimally more, if that's not even a word, you've got massive amount more angle to the stuff above that line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you've got a very, very, very limited viewing angle to the bottom section below that midpoint. Whereas you've got an enormous viewing angle to whatever, I assume that's land in the background, so I'm just going to move my mouse over it. So presumably that's not 8 foot. Do you know what I'm getting at? Whereas this is. Yeah. So it's disproportionate. And these types of viewing angles, your angle of attack, your actual viewing angle itself, none of this is considered by globeheads when they make calculations for long distance observations and then put them into a calculation. It's completely and utterly ignored. You know, it takes it out of first person and puts it into an orthographic view so that you can remove any of these aspects from it and just calculate out actual sizes. But it's nice to see a photograph like this where someone can really say, well, when they tell us about looking at 90 degrees, they make it out like on a flat plane. We should get out of this laser a straight line, you know, what looks like a straight line on the picture in reference to the only other straight line that's leveled. But it's not. It's pointing down, isn't it? It's going on a downward slope.
This is, yeah, well, it has to be because it's pointing down anyway to D-marble, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's what we're seeing is perspective. That's the line of sight to something on the bottom. Yeah?
Yeah.
But equally, this bottom section, which, you know, I'm drawing a line now for the audience, that represents 8 foot. It's nothing. But this is why you got your shots, and, you know, I'll take a little bit of credit because I did suggest it to you, but, you know, when you got in your little ditch and you pointed the camera right up, and suddenly you've increased the viewing angle to the stuff at the bottom, and you get to see it, even from an inch below ground level, which is phenomenal. You know, it just beggars belief, some of those shots you got. But kudos, D-marble, mate, wow.
What is it? I was going to show you, so that was that. This is the company that he's gone with, and obviously you got 5,000 megawatt lasers, 3,000 megawatt lasers. He used a 3,000 megawatt one, but they do have a 5,000 one that can do 18.64 miles, and the radius of the beam, the divergence, only goes to 2.5 meters over that distance.
2.5 meters is how big it would be at 18.5 miles.
Yeah.
So in other words, you could literally. What colours? Can you get a choice of colour?
It
doesn't matter, sure, but whatever colour, what colour would it be? Let's just say it's the same. I don't even know what colour
Blue laser.
Blue laser. So in other words, you could make. I would imagine that the clock face is about that. Is it going to be 2.5 meters? Maybe it's not quite that big, but you could certainly make the entire clock face blue.
Yes. Yes, I could.
And the entire clock face is below the curve of the Earth. Am I right? Am I correct?
Yep.
So therefore, if you can light that clock face and make it blue, you prove that you've got a direct line of sight to it.
Yes.
Nathan.
Yes.
Do you remember when I was last on the show and I was picking up and then I dropped?
Yeah, because you had a poor connection.
Yeah. One of the things, I had 3 things to say then, and one of them was to try and teach the Americans how to correctly pronounce the word bollocks. and to say that it's an O, which is BOL, bol, and then ox is OCKS, ox. So it's bol ox, not bullocks. Bullocks are animals. These are balls. That was my first point. I think that might have got lost, but my second point totally got lost. And I just want to come back to it now because I see the little worm in chat. The guy in chat called, is it Blue Marble? Is he the 15, 14-year-old?
Yep.
I was watching him on GeoStreamer's Hangout, and he was basically claiming that you're scared of him because you won't let him on the show.
Yeah, he made a video about me yesterday
in a
declaring
serious
just
voice,
that.
would you just tell him publicly what the reason is why you won't let him on?
Well, because he's jailbait. I don't want anybody accusing me of the stuff that Patricia Steer got accused of when she had someone older than him on her show. You know, she got attacked for having essentially a child, which is what he is, on the show. And when she did it initially, you know, she thought nothing of it, seemed perfectly fine to have somebody of that age. They're mature enough to discuss these topics, you would think. But then she got ridiculed. So I don't want that, basically. And it's easy enough to say goodbye, come back when your voice breaks, not interested.
Well, he was claiming the victim card massively, saying how you must be scared of him and how it's not funny because he's a child. And bottom line is, you are a child, and this is an adult conversation. And I'm sure you would need a consent form from your parents to partake in a show like this.
Yeah, he can always have his own show on his channel and invite someone on.
But if you're really looking for adult conversation, I'm sure Gem Panda would welcome you with open arms to his documentary, because he's doing a documentary on children. And I don't know exactly what he's doing, but it's something to do with the children of Flat Earth. So mention that one to Jeremy
trolls.
for you. That will help you.
FE cult. Get out. Get out.
Yeah,
But yeah, basically that's it. Come back when you're a bit older, Blue Marble. I'm sure you've got a lot to say. I've got nothing against you personally. I have no idea who you are or what you do, other than knowing that you were on with GeoStreamer and is very much closed to the public Circle Jerk hangout with Gem Panda. Well,
Bring
you know,
evidence.
great. You've got Circle Jerks that you can join. Join those. You know, this one, I don't want you here. I'm sorry if that's offensive to you. Or if you, I tell you what, you're right. I'm actually terrified of you.
Thing is you're never going to win having a child on, because if you no matter how it goes, if you kick his ass, he'll play the victim card. If he doesn't play the victim card, everybody somehow will find out that his version of the story will be that you were unnecessarily aggressive to him. He should have been nicer to you because he's a child. Blah 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 blah. Bottom line is, it is an adult conversation, and it gets heated. And really, I don't know. It's just not the right time for you yet, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to save face, like I say, it's because I'm terrified. There you go. If that's what you want me to say, there you go. You can have your way. I've been 14 too. I would want that if I was in your position. So you can tell the world it's because I'm absolutely petrified of you. Okay.
Karen B says, don't feel too bad. We banned him too. Banned for being a minor.
Am I still displaying, Nath?
Yeah.
You weren't, but if you can be.
All right, okay. Yeah, I was talking with P900 Cool Picks yesterday, and she asked me if I would mention it on your show, but she actually has done a GoFundMe too to try and get a P1000. Now she does an awful lot of work looking at the Isle of Man from Blackpool, which you shouldn't get to see. So this is her channel, P900 Cool Picks. If you want to go over there and have a look, and you think that you could help support her to try and get a P1000.
The key point with her is that she's not going to sabotage her P900. She's going to gift it to somebody.
She is.
Two people will benefit from it. You'll have P900 with the new camera, and then you'll have somebody that gains a camera completely free, and basically get me a pass me down. That's a really good call, a really good reason to donate.
It is.
Sorry, Anthony. Sorry to interrupt. So from her video, if you just click on show more.
Yep.
Scroll down a bit.
You know what? I just realized real quick.
Hold on. Sorry, Travis. Hold on. Can you just click the GoFundMe link, please?
Yeah, sure.
And then can you cut it from your browser and stick it in the Hangout chat?
Yeah.
To the Mind of God for the super chat. Much obliged.
I'll put it in the side chat there.
Yeah, please. I'll as soon as you post it, I'll steal it and then I'll stick it in the.
Okay. So she's had £120 donated so far. I'm not sure how long. Oh, it's been in 3 days. but she hasn't really promoted it. But anybody that actually does make a donation gets a chance to win the P900 from her. So it'll all go into a raffle.
Yeah, Anthony mentioned that to me. So if you're watching this, Sandra, first things first, just hopefully you'll take my advice. Move the link to the top of the info box so you don't have to click view more. So it's the first thing that you see. I will stick it on Facebook and stuff as well for you. But yeah, good luck with your campaign. Hopefully it gets you at least close to your target, if not all of it.
Oh, also I've done a Facebook group.
Hold on, I wanted what? Sorry, wanted one other thing. Just go back to Sandra's channel. Right, sorry. Can you click on share? No.
Sorry, if I click on share.
Yeah, and then just copy the link and again post it in the Hangout. So, right, how many people are watching? Let's have a look.
Copy.
200 plus people, right. Sandra, if you go back to her channel once you've done that.
Yeah. Okay.
Sandra has got, well, I'll be able to look now, 929 viewers, right? So she's 70 shy of 1,000. So god damn it, if there's 200 people in this Hangout right now, if she doesn't get to 1,000 by the end of the next show, I'm just going to throw a massive hissy fit, because Sandra's an excellent videographer. Look at this shot, just epic. Anyway, everybody should be subscribed to P900 Cool Pics. If you're not, you're a wrong'un. Go and subscribe right now to Sandra. And indeed hit her whatchamacallit fund as well. Sorry, Ranty, you've set up a Facebook page. Sorry to cut you off.
Sorry, I did too, yeah. And also it's a group, so it's for sort of like networking. So this is my Ranty Flat Earth page. And I think you can find me by Ranty Flat Earth UK. So that will be how you'll find me. And I've also done a group as well. So it's called Rant's Flat Earth Group. And it already has how many members? It has quite a lot already. Let's see. 44 already. That's not bad in 24 hours. If anybody wants to join, you can find me on there.
Just before we round out for the hour, I'm just going to leave on a question. If anybody's played the game Exploding Kittens, the card game Exploding Kittens, get in touch with me, because I played it for the first time last night and it's fab. So anyone knows anything about the Exploding Kittens card game, give me a shout.
Seriously? You're going to round it out on that?
Yeah.
Exploding Kittens?
It's well worth it. I'm not going to explain it.
I'm not even going to let you get it in again. So with that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate, and of course a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. Be sure to subscribe to Sandra, Cool900P, P900, I can never get her name right, P900 Cool Pics, which is Sandra's channel, which was up a moment ago. I've posted links in the chat, so hit that subscribe button in the 10-minute break, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!